You've said it 1,000 times before. Hi, how are you? Yet every time it feels emptier. You look at someone, try to connect, and still the air feels thin. Words fill the space, but meaning disappears. You walk away wondering why connection feels harder than ever, why people seem distracted even when they're looking right at you. It's not because you're uninteresting. It's because most people have forgotten the language of presence, the quiet strength behind words, the invisible rhythm that draws others without trying. The Stoics knew this long before modern psychology gave it a name. They understood that magnetism, real, lasting magnetism, isn't about charm. It's about awareness, clarity, and calm. In a world that shouts, presence whispers, and everyone listens. So in this video, we're going to rediscover that lost art. You'll learn 4 simple words that carry power, calm, and connection. These are not tricks or tactics. They are habits of mind. 4 ancient signals that turn noise into meaning. Because when you master the right words, you stop chasing attention and start commanding it quietly. Each word will change how people see you, but more importantly, it will change how you see yourself. Modern life is loud. We scroll, tap, reply, perform, and yet feel unseen. Conversations are fast but shallow, full of rehearsed lines and fake warmth. We try to sound confident, but beneath it, most people feel unheard, unknown, unseen. The Stoics warned us about this kind of chaos. A life lived outward, never inward. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Today our thoughts are stained by noise. We chase attention instead of alignment. We speak without understanding. Think about the way most interactions go. We speak to fill silence. We ask questions we don't care to hear the answers to. We reply before someone finishes their thought, already preparing our next line. That's not connection. That's performance. Stoicism teaches something entirely different, that presence isn't about doing more, it's about doing less with depth. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak." The modern world rewards speed, but the Stoic world rewards stillness. When you walk into a room full of noise and remain grounded, you become magnetic without saying a word. Because your calmness is rare, your attention is rare, you're not reacting, you're perceiving. And perception is power. These 4 Stoic words will bring you back to that center, that place where your words carry weight because your silence has meaning. So let's begin with the first truth. Lesson 1. Understand. The first word is understand. Most people listen to reply, few listen to understand. And that's why most conversations die before they begin. When you seek to understand, you remove the spotlight from yourself. You stop trying to prove and start trying to perceive. It's not weakness, it's mastery. Marcus Aurelius spent nights writing letters to himself, dissecting his own emotions, trying to understand his impulses. He knew that clarity begins when ego ends. In modern life, we often mistake quickness for intelligence. We interrupt, correct, and rush through people's sentences because silence makes us uncomfortable. But understanding thrives in silence. When you truly listen, not just to the words, but the pauses, the hesitations, people feel seen. That's power. Because everyone is starving to be understood. To understand means to stand beneath, to lower your guard, your pride, your opinions, and simply hold space. This is not submission, it's composure. When you understand someone, you rise above the conversation itself. You no longer need to dominate, your presence does that for you. As Seneca said, it is the power of the mind to be unconquerable, and in that moment of true understanding, you become unconquerable. Lesson 2. Sense. The second word is sense. To sense is to feel what isn't spoken, the energy, the tension, the truth between the lines. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless, it's about sensing clearly, without distortion. Epictetus said, "It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things." Most people react to their own interpretations, not reality itself. To sense is to pause before labeling, before assuming. You've seen it. Someone walks into a room and changes the atmosphere instantly. They don't talk louder, they feel the room. They sense when to speak, when to stay silent, when to soften or strengthen. That's presence. It's intuition sharpened by awareness, and the Stoics practiced it daily. They trained their senses, not just the physical ones, but the inner ones, to observe without attachment. When you develop the ability to sense, you stop being emotionally blind. You can see beyond surface behavior. You can read discomfort, pride, or insecurity without judgment. That awareness makes people trust you. They feel that you see them, not through ego, but through clarity. And the more you sense, the less you're deceived by appearances. Because to sense deeply is to know what's real, and reality is the ultimate calm. Lesson 3. Right. The third word is right. Not in the moralistic sense, but in the sense of alignment, doing what is right, not what is easy. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. We waste it chasing approval, comfort, shortcuts. But doing what's right, even when unseen, builds invisible gravity." People can feel integrity. It radiates in subtle ways, in how you speak, how you hold yourself, how you respond under pressure. When your words align with your actions, people trust you without knowing why. You become magnetic because you're consistent. You're not seeking validation, you're rooted in virtue. Stoicism calls this arete, moral excellence, doing the right thing simply because it's right. In today's world, being right in this sense is rare. We praise charisma more than character, but charisma fades, character endures. Doing what's right doesn't always feel rewarding. Sometimes it's silent, lonely, unseen, but it sharpens your soul. It makes you someone whose presence carries quiet weight. The Stoic doesn't shout their virtue, they embody it. And when you live that way, you don't need to impress anyone. Your integrity speaks louder than your voice. Lesson 4. Listen. The fourth and final word is listen. Not just with ears, with your full being. Listening is what transforms all the previous words into wisdom. You can't understand without listening. You can't sense without listening. You can't know what's right without listening to your conscience, to others, to life itself. The Stoics practiced a kind of deep listening, not passive, but attentive, alive. When you truly listen, you stop defending, you stop performing. You allow reality to speak for itself. Marcus Aurelius would often write, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." That's listening in action, quiet humility. Modern society rewards those who speak the loudest. But the strongest men in every room are those who listen longest. They absorb, they reflect, they choose their words like a blade. Precise, measured, intentional. Listening is not silence, it's active awareness. It's the discipline of holding still while your mind screams to react. And the more you listen, the more people feel safe around you. Because you're not waiting to respond. You're there, fully. That's presence. That's magnetism. It's the kind of energy that doesn't seek to impress, yet everyone remembers it. In that stillness, you realize something profound. That connection isn't built by words, but by attention. And when you give your attention fully, people feel seen in a way they've forgotten how to feel. Now understand, sense, right? Listen. 4 words, 4 pillars of invisible strength. Together, they form the foundation of what the Stoics called eudaimonia, a life of excellence, not pleasure. To understand is to humble the ego. To sense is to awaken awareness. To do what's right is to align with virtue. To listen is to master presence. These are not tricks to attract others, they are practices to attract peace. The world tells you to speak louder, move faster, show more. Stoicism whispers the opposite. Slow down. Observe. Listen. Let your words carry the weight of thought behind them. Because magnetism isn't about performance, it's about stillness. It's the strength that comes from self-command. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." When you live these words, you stop chasing attention. It comes to you naturally. People feel your composure, they feel your clarity, they remember how they felt around you, even if they forget your words. And that is real power. So here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, practice 1 word each day. Understand before reacting. Sense before speaking. Do what's right even when no one's watching. And listen, truly listen, without interrupting. Comment below with the words, "I choose presence," because in the end, attraction isn't found in technique, it's found in attention. What are your views on this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I will personally read all of your comments. And if you seriously want to level up in life, don't forget to show some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Stay strong. Until next time.